Welcome to Sales Training 102. In this video, we're going to build upon everything that you learned before in Sales Training 101 to start applying those techniques on how to best answer and handle the phone. So let's move on into phone intake readiness. This is the first feature of the Imagine system where you're going to start to apply the techniques and the theory you just learned in sales. Watch how this completely comes to life right before your eyes. This is going to be very exciting to go through. Make sure you have your pad and paper ready to take detailed notes. Look for the notes that you took in the previous video, and as you watch this video, add notes to what you started to build before. Now, the phone. The phone is the lifeblood of any business. It is through the phone how we are able to communicate with our clients, potential and or existing. It is usually the first point of contact with potential clients that are looking for our service. The phone also is the way that we are able to reach out to our clients and explain information to them. The phone is where most of the communication in the school will take place between either us or our clients. Understand that the email and email correspondence works very similar to the phone. We will get to that in a later time, but let's focus now on the phone. No matter what business you work in, you're going to many times hear the phone ringing. Imagine is the same way. And to learn how to effectively answer the phone will make you that much more productive and that much more comfortable, competent, convenient, and compassionate, utilizing control your first day on the job. So let's take a look at phone intake readiness. Of course, before we even venture into phone intake readiness, let's revisit 5 C's, because phone intake readiness applies directly with each one of the 5 C's. Competence. You want to make sure before answering the phone or before doing any work on the phone that you have a very clear and full understanding of everything that you're about to learn in this video and all of the sales training in the previous video. To be competent on the phone makes it easier for us to deliver to our clients exactly what they want. Convenience. Convenience is very important. You want to commit yourself, starting now, to answer the phone in at most 2 rings. At most 2 rings. Why? Well, because when our clients call us, they want to feel like we are ready to serve them. The best way to demonstrate that we are always ready and anticipating their call and anticipating helping them is to answer the phone in as few rings as possible. If the phone rings and rings and rings, or you get voicemail and have to call back at a later time, that's not convenient. It makes our customers feel like it is difficult for them to get to us and reach us for them to get the services that they expect. So you want to answer the phone in at most 2 rings. Comfort. Comfort on the phone is very important. You want the clients, potential and existing, to always feel like they have somebody that knows them or is friendly and enjoys speaking to them. Work with clients on the phone where it's almost like a very comfortable conversation. Most people want to feel like they're calling somebody that they know and they trust, and somebody that they enjoy working with and getting their services from. One of the easiest ways to display comfort on the phone is to smile. Developing the habit of smiling when you answer the phone makes your day that much more enjoyable for you and also for every client on the other end of the phone. Speaking to them in a very clear, comfortable, and calm and friendly manner is also very important. This is all comfort on the phone. Now, control. Control, we will focus more directly in today's video. Control is very important. That doesn't mean to be a control freak, but it does mean to be able to follow the procedures properly to best service the client. And compassion. Compassion is being patient, being understanding with whatever the other person is saying to you on the phone. Sometimes people call and it's very loud. Sometimes people call and they may not be having a good day, and they might express their bad day to you. That does not mean that you then begin to have a bad day. Your day always remains the same, happy and compassionate. Understand that people, when they call us, we don't know what is happening in their lives, but we are always patient and ready and willing to help them. So each one of the 5 C's is directly related to answering the phone and being ready. Once again, this is called phone intake readiness. So the Imagine Learning Academy's team member is always ready and anticipating the phone ringing. No matter what you're doing, you could be busy working on another project or busy working with a client. The phone still could ring in that situation, and you must always be ready, anticipating, and willing to answer that phone in at most 2 rings. So answering the phone is still very much a part of sales. Now, why is it a part of sales? Well, because when a potential client is calling us, it is through the phone that they have their first experience with us. It is through that one phone call that we are able to establish either a good feeling or a not so good feeling about our institution. It is how they're able to develop their first experience with us. Also, many times when clients call, they may have the intention of maybe calling around a few places to look for something that's right. We don't know what that is for each person. Maybe some people are trying to call around and find the right price, or call around and find the right type of school or language or training. But sometimes people just call around and they don't know exactly what they're looking for. They'll just go with whoever gives them the best feeling. Now remember the golden assumption here when answering the phone. That if they call us, they want our service. On top of that, if they walk in, they also want our service. So we must remember that when we're answering the phone, whatever it was, something motivated that person to call you now. It could be a thought over weeks or over months, maybe sometimes even over years. But whatever it was, it called them to action now. And they called you now. All it is for you to close them. A, B, C. Always be closing. That means you're going to effectively help the potential client realize their goal. So now, wait a minute, you might be thinking. What about other types of calls? Don't existing clients call? Don't sometimes clients call asking questions or wanting to speak to their teacher or needing to handle any other service within our institution? Of course, those calls happen all the time. See, existing clients, vendors, suppliers, service companies, etc., they all may call us. So now, when you are being a good salesperson on the phone and you are applying these phone intake readiness techniques, you want to be able to identify what type of call is it. Is this call an existing client, or is this call a potential new client? You want to identify the type of call within the first 2 seconds of answering that phone. So how does one do that? I'll teach you a special trick. When you answer the phone and you hear a question being the first thing on the phone, that is an immediate trigger to let you know that you most likely have a new potential student on the phone. When you answer the phone and you hear questions like, do you have French classes? That's a new student. How much does it cost to study English? That's a new student. Why? Because our existing clients very, very, very rarely will call and ask those questions. Maybe they'll call and ask that question because they're trying to refer a friend, or maybe because they themselves want to study something new. But understand that if you hear questions 99.9% of that time, that means and lets you know that that is a new potential client. Other examples. Do you have classes on Saturdays? Etc. Always anticipate and be ready for new students. And remember this, new students always have priority on the phone. Always. You could be working with the client, you could be in the middle of doing something else on a project. If the phone rings and you hear a question which immediately triggers you to identify that this is a new student, give that person immediate priority. Hold what you're doing, tell an existing client that you need to take this call, and take the time to give this person, this new potential client, the 5 C's of your convenience, compassion, competence, control, and comfort on the phone immediately to continue to process the call. So now, let's quickly review. Remember, sales is only 3 steps. The 3 steps were, I think you have them by now, number 1, prospecting. Number 2, presentation, that's right. And number 3, closing. That's correct. You're getting good at this. So those are only 3 steps in sales in general. And we talked about those in Sales 101. So now here, when it comes to answering the phone, you have 5 steps on how to answer the phone properly. Call intake readiness has 5 steps. And here they are. Step 1, the greeting. Hello, thank you for calling ILA. This is Cliff speaking. How may I help you? Just that simple. The greeting goes as follows. Thank you for calling ILA. This is Cliff speaking. How may I help you? Second step is, remember, this is dealing with potential or new clients that ask questions. The second step is to answer questions. If somebody asks a question, the first thing you want to do after hearing that question is answer it. Step 3, transition. The transition is how we prepare somebody to move into the 4th step, which is the close. After the close is capture information. Let's repeat those. Step 1, the greeting. Step 2, answer questions. Step 3, transition. Step 4, close. Step 5, capture information. Well, let's look at those in a little bit more detail. So you know that there are 3 steps in sales. The 3 steps being presentation. Caught you slipping. First one is prospecting. That's correct. Prospecting. Presentation, closing. Once again, prospecting, presentation, closing. Those are the 3 steps in sales in general. Now on the phone, those same 3 steps apply. But you might ask, how do they apply? Because you just told me there are 5 steps in answering the phone. Well, let's look at them in a little bit more detail. Prospecting, as I told you before, is really just the process of identifying and targeting who you're going to sell to. So step 1 of the 5-step process of the greeting is the prospecting of the prospecting segment of the 3 steps. When you say, hello, thank you for calling ILA, this is Cliff speaking, how may I help you? That is creating your target of who to sell to. That is your phase of prospecting. Step 2 is somebody asks a question. You're going to answer the question in step 2. Answering questions and then moving to the transition, that is your presentation stage of the sales process. When you answer the questions and then transition, you are telling the potential student more about our product, more about our services. And then you see already that step 3 and step 4 in the call intake readiness, step 3 in the sales process, and step 4 in the call intake readiness process are the same. Closing or close. Remember, this is where you get the customer to agree. Notice also that in this diagram, close is the largest and the most colorful of all of the steps, making that the most important part of the process. Everywhere in the 3 steps or even in the 5 steps of phone intake readiness, the close is the most important. Step 5 is capture information. Notice that you capture the information at the end of the call. Why? Because step 1, step 2, and step 3 are designed only to get you to step 4, the close, the most important part of the process. You already know this because of ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing. So the close is how we get the customer to agree. Agree. Well now, if we're on the phone and somebody calls us and they're asking questions about one of our services, how do we get them to agree to purchase our product on the phone? Good question. On the phone, we're not getting people to agree to purchasing our services yet. That would be too early. So on the phone, we're closing. But what are we closing, or what are we getting the customers to agree on? On the phone, we are getting our clients, our potential clients, to agree to coming to our location for a face-to-face meeting. When you are on the phone and you identify that you have a new or potential client, your immediate goal is to follow the 5 steps of the phone intake process. The greeting, answer questions, transition, close, and capture information. What you are closing on, and your ultimate goal, is to get the client to agree to come in for a face-to-face meeting. Now let me show you what I mean, because maybe it's not making that much sense to you yet. Watch this. And remember, keep an open mind. Follow the steps and you will see large amounts of success, I guarantee it. So let's say, for example, you're on the phone. And the phone rings. Bring. And you answer it. Step 1, the greeting. Thank you for calling Illa. This is Cliff speaking. How may I help you? Then you hear a voice on the phone that says, yes, I wanted information about French classes. Do you have classes in the evenings? Immediately. That was a question. That lets you know immediately that this is a potential client. A potential client is going to ask about classes and then ask us about timings of our classes. That's somebody who is not familiar with us, who does not know about our system, does not know completely about our services. That is a new potential client. So immediately you can get ready and get excited to go through these steps. Stop what you're doing, crack your knuckles, and let's begin. So remember, step 1, we did the company greeting, and step 2 is where we answer the question. So let's hear that question again. Yes, I wanted information about French classes. Do you have classes in the evenings? Yes, we do have classes in the evenings, and there is still some room available for you. You see that? I answered the question. The simple answer is yes. Yes, we have classes. And yes, there is room available for you. Immediately, step 3 would be the transition. The transition is where we prepare the client for the close. Watch how that goes. I'll repeat again when the client asks the question. Yes, I wanted information about French classes. Do you have classes in the evenings? Step 2, answering questions. Yes, we do have that class, and there is still some room available for you. Transition. I would be glad to go over these details with you so we can find the best options that will help meet your goals. And then we move to the close. Would you prefer to come in on Monday or Tuesday? I'm going to show you right now an example role play. Let's take a look at this script of the 5 steps being used on an example phone call. This is a very common type of call. I'm going to walk you through the script so you can understand each component and the application of each one of the 5 steps. Then we're going to hear the entire script done completely from beginning to end. Let's take a look here. Step 1 is the greeting. The greeting is the same everywhere. Thank you for calling Illa. This is Clifford speaking. How may I help you? Remember, we want to say the greeting in as convenient and compassionate and comfortable a voice as possible. Thank you for calling Illa. This is Cliff speaking. How may I help you? Try that again. Thank you for calling Illa. This is Cliff speaking. How may I help you? So the greeting, we definitely want to make sure that we deliver it in as comfortable, as convenient, and compassionate as possible. Now the next step, 2, is answering questions. When you have a potential new student, the first thing they're usually going to do is ask you a question. What you want to do is answer the question. But you want to answer the question in a way that gives the client just enough information to move to the next step. Not too much information. If you give too much information, it tends to possibly confuse the client. Or giving too much information will then give them a reason to ask another question. Because remember, that's not what they called about. They did not call to ask a bunch of questions. What they did call is because they want your service. So because of that, we want to answer their question in a way that addresses their main concern, and then continue through the process. Move immediately to step 3. Here's a quick example. If the client asks, for example here, I wanted information about French classes. Do you have classes in the evenings? The appropriate response would be, yes, we do have classes in the evenings, and there is still some room available for you. Notice how here I do not give too much information. I do not give class times. I do not give schedules. I do not give exact times. Why? Because I don't know enough information about the client's schedule yet. And they also don't know exactly what times are the best for them yet based on our schedule. Giving too much information helps to confuse things. So keep it simple. So now that brings us to step 3. Step 3 follows immediately after step 2. That's called the transition. Now, what is the transition? The transition is a brief in-between step that gets us to our goal, which is the close. We want to answer the question and immediately transition to seamlessly move into the close. Never pause at the end of answering your questions. Don't pause in between step 2 and step 3. Move fluidly between the two so that the client is comfortably transitioned to the most important part. The part that you want to get to and the part that they want to get to. Because remember, they want your service. They also want to get to the close. You just make it comfortable and convenient for them to do so. So let's see how we answer the question and immediately transition right now. So the client will ask, I wanted information about French classes. Do you have classes in the evenings? And you answer the question as follows. Yes, we do have that class, and there is still some room available for you. I would be glad to go over these details with you so we can find the best options that will help meet your goals. You see that? Answer their questions, and then I transitioned, which moves us to the most important part. ABC, always be closing. This is step 4, the close. Now the close is where we get the client to agree. So what do we want them to agree to? Remember, we want them to agree to a face-to-face meeting at our school or at your location. So the close is as follows. Would you prefer to come in on Monday or Tuesday? Would you prefer to come in on Wednesday or Friday, etc.? We give a choice. Why? We give them a choice. That is being convenient and being comfortable. We also give a choice that helps to meet our needs. That's using control. So think about this. Let's say that we know that we are closed on Friday because of a holiday. Or We know that Wednesday is going to be a very, very busy day. There's so much happening at your location that, oh my goodness, I'm not going to have time to really work with this potential client. So which choices do you not give? You're not going to give, would you prefer Wednesday, our busy day, or Friday, the day we're closed? If you know and you keep track of what days are best, you will be able to take control of the days that you have the client to come in. So would you prefer to come in Tuesday or Thursday? Would be a better option if you know your Wednesday and your Friday that you're unable to service the client. Let the client make a choice of what they want. After you let them choose the day, then you're going to give them a second close, which goes as follows. Would you prefer to come in the afternoons or early evenings? Or would you prefer to come in the mornings or afternoons? We give this choice for the same reason, for more control, to convey convenience and comfort to the client. Take notice that if you say to the client, when would you like to come in? Most likely your response is going to be, I don't know, let me check my schedule. Or, I don't know, I'll call you back. That's not having control, and that's not following the 5 steps. You want to ask and give them a choice. Would you prefer to come in Monday or Tuesday? Would you prefer to come in the mornings or afternoons, etc.? After you get the client to agree to a day and a time that is convenient for them and also convenient for you based on the choices you gave, then you move to step 5, which is capturing the information. That's where you ask, could you please give me your name, your telephone number, email, etc. So you can begin to enter that information into our customer database. So now, why do we have capturing information at the end of the 5 steps? Shouldn't that be at the beginning, you might ask? Well, think about it this way. Think about the golden assumption. Remember, if they call us, they want our service. And if they walk in, they also want our service. All we do is close them. So you want to interact and speak to clients on the phone as if they already are your client. You see how powerful that is? Speak to them as if they already are your client. Speak to them as if you already know them, as if they've already made their choice, as if all they're doing is coming to speak to the school that they've already decided they want to work with. Think about it this way. Let's say, for example, you called a dentist's office, for example. You wanted to get some dental work done, and you don't know a specific dentist yet. And you call, and somebody says, hello, and you ask, I'm looking to get some dental work done. Can you help me? And the first thing that they say is, yes, what is your name? What is your number? What is your address? Whoa, that feels a little uncomfortable, doesn't it? Maybe you don't feel really ready. I'm not ready yet to give you all of that information. I still need more information about you before I'm ready to give you all of my information. Maybe you've had that experience before. But it is this reason why capturing information is at the end. Because it's that much more comfortable for our potential clients, A, and B, also because we are treating them with the golden assumption that they already are our student. So, once they've agreed to being our client, then we can capture that information so that we can better service them moving forward throughout the duration of our relationship. You see how powerful that is? Let's take a look at some other examples. Just listen as you hear somebody going through the 5 steps in different types of calls.
Thank you for calling ILA. This is Graciela speaking. How may I help you?
I'd like to enroll in an English class this coming semester.
That would be my pleasure. Will this be your first time visiting our school?
Yes, it will.
Let me be the first to welcome you to our institution. Would you prefer to come in Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Would you prefer mornings or afternoons?
Mornings.
Great. Let's meet on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.
Sounds great.
Okay, I just need some last information. If you could please give me your first name and last name.
Andrew Alexandri.
Okay, and your phone number?
309-728-294.
Thank you. And also your address, please.
Rua Placido de Abreu, 102 ESQ.
Okay, perfect. So, Andrew, I will see you on Tuesday in the morning at 9 a.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much for calling our school. Take care. Thank you for calling ILA. This is Graciela speaking. How may I help you?
What type of classes do you have?
We offer several different types of lessons. We have group lessons, private lessons, semi-individual courses, as well as fun speaking clubs. What I would be glad to do is arrange a time for us to talk about your goals so we can choose the best and most comfortable option for you. Would you prefer Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
Wednesdays.
Would you prefer mornings or afternoons?
Afternoons.
Okay, so perfect. So you could come in Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, I just need your name first and last, please.
Andrew Alexandri.
Okay, and your phone number?
329-784-3925.
And your address, please?
The White House.
Okay, so I will see you on Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you for calling ILA. This is Graciela speaking. How may I help you?
Hello, do you have classes on Sunday?
Well, that is usually an unpopular time for our clients, but we have many different classes to meet our clients' needs. I'll be happy to construct the most convenient class schedule for you when you come in and see our school. Would you prefer to come in on Tuesdays or Mondays?
Mondays.
Okay, would you prefer evenings or mornings?
Mornings.
Okay, so I will see you on Monday at 10 a.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, can I please get your phone number?
329-784-3925.
And your first and last name?
Andrew Alexandri.
And your address, please.
325 Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, thank you so much. I will see you, Andrew, on Mondays at 10 a.m.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So now let's talk about calls asking for prices. This is a very common type of call that you might experience. This is where somebody calls you up and they want to try to get the prices over the phone. Now, the steps are the same. You're going to follow the same 5 steps. Company greeting, answer questions, transition, close, and capture information. You're going to do all the 5 steps the same, but we want to make sure that we address the question about prices. It's a very common type of call. Now, bear in mind that over the phone, we do not want to give detailed prices. We do not want to give detailed prices over the phone. Why? Well, because the truth is that we have many different prices and many different options of classes. It would be difficult for us to really give an exact and clear price depending on what the client wants and what is best for them. Honestly, to give them the best price and the best package, we would need to know more information. And the best way to get that information is actually in person. And also, the client doesn't know enough information about our services yet for them to know exactly what they want. So if somebody calls and says, I want to study English, how much does it cost? Well, that would really depend. Do they want an individual class, a group class? Are they looking to study intensives? Are they looking to study over a long period of time? Are they looking to study at their home or in the school? There are so many different factors that will affect exactly what the price is. Furthermore, are they eligible for any of our discount parameters? Are they a friend or family of an existing client? Are they studying alone, etc., etc.? There are so many different variables that would make it very difficult for you to give detailed prices over the phone. So because of that, and because we want to make sure that we adhere the highest level of competence on the phone and comfort, we do not want to give detailed prices over the phone. Also understand that many times when people are calling and they're asking about prices, many times people are just trying to sniff around, maybe shop, maybe see, let's see if I can find the best price or lowest price. But the truth is, what really is the lowest or best price? Just because one place says 100 euros, another place says 120 euros, that may not mean that the 100 euros is the better price. Depends on how long the class is, the quality of the teachers, the duration of your class, the materials that you get. Are they included in the price? Are they not? Where is the place located? Do you have travel costs? There are so many factors. Honestly, the truth is, we don't know enough information, and neither does the client to know and get detailed prices. So if they're sniffing around, you want to make sure to service them the best and move through the 5 steps without giving detailed prices over the phone. People may also be worried about, am I going to be able to afford this? Is this going to be affordable for me? The truth is that once again, we don't know enough information, and neither do they, for us to know how to best make this convenient and affordable for them. So we want to avoid that. So let's take a look how that would go. Following the same 5 steps, the question in this case will be about prices. Let's hear an example of what that would sound like.
Thank you for calling ILA. This is Graciela speaking. How may I help you?
How much do English classes cost?
We have many different classes with different fees, some beginning at 50 euros per month. I would love to set up a time for us to discuss further your goals and to get a clear idea of which courses and at which cost would be suitable and convenient for you. Would you prefer to come in Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
Wednesday.
Would you prefer mornings or afternoons?
Afternoons.
Okay, so perfect. I will see you on Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, I just need some information. Can you please give me your first and last name?
Andrew Alexandri.
Okay, and your phone number, please?
372-584-3927.
Okay, and please your address.
The White House.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Andrew, I will see you on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, take care. Thank you for calling ILA. This is Graciela speaking. How may I help you?
Hello. I'd like to know more about French classes for my son. What are the hours and prices?
We have many different classes with different fees, some beginning at 50 euros per month. I would love to set up a time for us to discuss further your goals and to get a clear idea of which courses and at which cost would be suitable and convenient for you. Would you prefer to come in Tuesdays or Thursdays?
Thursdays.
Would you prefer mornings or afternoons?
Afternoons.
Okay, perfect. So I'll see you at Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Okay, I just need to get your name first and last, please.
Bob Miller.
Okay, and your phone number?
329-824-3695.
Okay, and your address, please.
329 Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, I will see you on Thursday at 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Practice this and get familiar with all of these transitions and these closes and these questions that you answer. Because remember, sales is a repetitive process. These things repeat over and over again. The client may not ask the question in the same exact way, but when you identify the call within 2 seconds, you'll be able to know, this is a new potential student and this is a call about prices. Alright, so now I want to make sure that at this point you really understand the importance of following through the 5 steps. You want to follow through each one of these 5 steps in order. In order. Step 1, answer the greeting, immediately moves you to step 2, answering questions. After step 2, answering questions, step 3, transition. After step 3, transition, step 4, close. And after step 4, close, is step 5, capture information. Now let's take a look at our definition of sales. Remember, sales is a systematic process of repetitive and measurable milestones. Throughout the phone call, you will quickly be able to measure where you are in the process. Am I in step 1, 2, 3, or 4 at this point? We always want to make sure we get to step 4. If we find that we receive a call and we do not get to step 4, for whatever reason, we do not get the client to go to step 4, the most important part of the call. That's where you know that you had an unsuccessful call. ABC, always be closing. If we're unable to get to the close, then we're wasting our client's time. Their valuable time we are wasting. They want our service and we weren't able to give it to them. So we always want to make sure to follow each one of the steps in order from 1 all the way down to 5. Sometimes when people are new, they immediately preoccupy themselves with getting to the close that they forget about step 5, which is also very important, capturing the information. Let's say we get the client to agree, okay, I'm coming to meet you on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And then we say, okay, great, goodbye. We don't have their number. We don't have their address. We don't even have their name. How are we supposed to service this client properly? What if the client gets lost, is unable to find our location, or needs to reschedule? We have no way of contacting them to make sure that we can service them in the future. Make sure to follow each one of the 5 steps from beginning all the way to the end. Do this by remembering the golden assumption. If anyone calls us, they want our service. And if anyone comes into our office, they want our service. All we do is close them. On the phone, when somebody calls and asks questions, they want our service. Why? Because they took the time to call you. They didn't try to call him. They didn't call her. We're not worried about who they called before or who they're going to call after. What we know is that they called you. And when they call you, that means they want you. All we have to do is close them. And we close them by following the 5 steps. At this point, before we move on, let's take a break. I want you to go back and review those 5 steps. Review how those 5 steps relate, 5 steps of call intake readiness relate directly with the overall 3 steps of sales. After that, take a look at how to apply those 5 steps with basic question calls that we went over in the examples earlier. Go back and review this tape as much as possible. You are ready to move on to the next tape when you have it memorized on how to do the greeting, how best to answer questions and move into the transition, and how to close by giving the client a choice. Would you prefer Monday or Wednesday? Would you prefer mornings or afternoons? Keep in mind that you want to give the choice that also meets the control and comfort for you and the location, as well as the comfort for the potential client. And then capturing information is the last step that we save for the end, where we speak to the client as if they already are our client. Okay, take a break here and do this as much time as possible. When you feel ready and confident to start answering phone calls following these 5 steps, then let's move on to the next video, where we'll go into phone intake readiness part 2, sales training 103. Thank you.